Hello everybody and welcome to Learn DOTA. We are now into week 3 of the VODs we're publishing for the Razer Academy. If you've been watching them all, well done to you. If you haven't, well, go back, watch them all, and then I can say, well done to you. I am TobiWanKenobi, known to the world, the real world, as Toby Dawson. I am a commentator for the world of Dota 2 out of LearnDOTA.com, and well, it's all about the awesomeness of esports. That's what I kind of get off on. Today, we're going to try and explain how you can actually understand the entire world of esports. Not easy to do, but bit by bit you can do it, and there are ways to keep up. So they're the tips and tricks we're going to teach you today for what you need to do or what you can do to try and keep up with the wonderful world of Dota 2. I'm also going to go through a couple of questions which are answered, or actually asked. I'm going to answer them. They were asked on our VOD from last week. If you missed out last week's video, we did a streamer's guide. So if you're interested in streaming or doing anything like that, I highly suggest you check out the week 2 video. It should answer a lot of questions and easy ways that you can learn to stream and be part of the online broadcasting community, which is actually getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But we'll talk about those polls a little bit later on. Now, the questions I've got here, there is one that came through from Lol, I'm guessing is the way he pronounced his name, or Lol. And he answers the question, can I stream in full HD when I have a resolution of 1680 by 1050? The answer is, and that's on his monitor. The answer is actually no, you cannot. Well, the way it works when you stream and you are capturing a certain region of your screen, it takes that region you have and then we'll put that into what you're streaming. So if you have your resolution of 1680 by 1050, then when you take that and you open it up and you say, I want to stream in 1920 by 1080, then it's stretching your image out and it's going to distort your pixels up. So it's not possible to actually do that one. You will need to stream in 1280 by 720, or you can play around with a couple of other resolutions, but most people want to look at it in the normal HD, which is the 720p HD instead of the 1080p HD. And that's not really a bad thing either. Most people's internet connections won't handle watching it in a higher resolution if you're streaming down in Asia or places like that. If you're in Europe, then most people will, but yeah, you just never know, so it's always better to go with the norm so a majority of people can actually watch you. I have a couple of other questions right now. One of the question comes out from, I think it's Mugo Ale, and he's actually asking for information on tri-laning, stacking and pulling wards, and guides for that kind of stuff. Now, the best place to find that kind of stuff is actually just by searching YouTube. There are tons of them out there. Most of them will be designed for Warcraft 3, Dota, but most of them will apply to the world of Dota 2. Bit by bit, we'll show you a couple of things as we go video by video by video by video. But really, when it comes to that kind of stuff, it's the guys who are very, very experts in the mechanics of Dota and that kind of stuff, which you kind of want to know, like the exact pulling times and things like that. They describe it in a very, very good way. Hopefully, I can do a couple of things like that. We might get a couple of pros onto this thing, just so people out there can go, that's actually how he did that. Most interesting. Yes. We will be creating some stuff like that. I can run you through the basics, and that's really what I want to try and focus on when I do these videos as well, is the basics to help you understand it. Not everybody needs to know the exact timing for the exact pull to become better gamers. What I try and help you do as a broadcaster is help you as a viewer understand what I'm broadcasting. If you can do that, all the smaller details, you'll get that bit by bit, and that comes with experience. If you're ever trying to watch the world of Dota 2, don't instantly just try and watch it and go, I'm going to understand everything that is happening. That's not the way it really works. When you're watching things, if I watched a game of football for the first time, I can work out the basics of that ball goes into that goal, and that's easy. That's very, very simple for me to understand. But everything else that happens, the rules of offside, how many times, like what constitutes a bad tackle, why can I tackle from behind, what the hell is going on here, I don't understand these rules, all that kind of integral stuff. It's very, very simple when it comes to a physical sport like soccer to understand the basic rules. But when it comes to Dota, there's a lot more. So you got to fill in that middle knowledge and then you can see the goalposts, but it's everything else in that middle part that you got to try and work to understand. And that's what we're here for. That's what I'm here for, to help you guys. And that was the whole reason behind the Academy. The Razer Academy is there to train people up so they can learn this kind of stuff, sometimes be better gamers, and In this case, to be better viewers, so you guys can understand what the hell I'm getting excited about when I have a broadcast. So yes, that is the answer to Quad Core, his name was, or probably still is. I highly doubt he's actually changed it. Actually, that came from Mugol too. Actually, the question from Quad Core was, that's the next one I've got on my little list. So I've actually planned some stuff now. We got a little bit random last time, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to plan just a couple of incy-bincy little things just to help out. So how to break into the competitive scene is the question coming out from Quad Core. Now, this is a question which is actually very, very simply answered. All you need is a team. Now, that's a simple answer. Making that happen, that's the difficult thing. A team is not something which can easily be assembled. Generally, it's very unstable in the world of Dota 2 as well, because you need to find 5 people at first that have beta keys, and second, can all get along together. You can try rando combinations, and who knows, it might completely work for you. I know there was there was another guy on the Academy that actually, and I want to find his video right now because I want to reference this little sucker to you. So let me just jump myself over to my other overlay. And in fact, it is this man right here. Now, he released another video. Here we go. Creating a team. So if you want to check this little sucker out, I would actually... Razer logo. I would highly suggest it. So it's a guy called Kendall and creating a team. So definitely check out his information. He runs through step by step the best ways to actually create a team. Where you take that team, now that is the next thing. And where you actually want to compete with that team is the next thing. So, you got a team, what do you do with it? What competitions are out there? At this point, because Dota 2 is still in beta, there are not a large amount of competitions out there which you can compete in that are open. Most of them are invite only. There are a couple which you can qualify for, and that'll get you into the main competition, and those are the ones you want to try and check out, because once you've proved yourself in that competition, then you can really start advancing, because then people like myself and people who select the teams for invitationals, like we did the Join Dota Masters recently, and we selected teams who have proven themselves beforehand, because it's like a Masters competition. When you have invite, you generally look for the highlight teams. A broadcaster is not always going to look for a team who has never played a game of Dota 2 but could be the best. Someone like that is a bit of a gamble, and sometimes you do have like wild cards or dark horses that you want to try and bring into your competition. But most of the time you do try and find tier 2, tier 3 teams to take up those roles, so then they can prove themselves. So you as a gamer, you as a team, when you first assemble yourselves, try and play in Cup Series, try and find other little things. There was actually one which happened last night. I am, of course, recording this on the Monday. It will be released a little bit later on. But there was a thing called the Sunday Evening Cup Series. So if you are from North America, you can check this out. I realize they've got a crazy, crazy page that's actually not going to fit into my overlay. But don't worry, we can... drop this one down so you can see it here. All right, so it's just run through NA Dota. And these kind of simple things, like they just make up a team. A lot of them is just like assembled teams, but you can sign up for these little things. And the best way to find these little guys, the best way to find them is by visiting websites which have forums. Forums are the best thing to find out anything. Most times you'll see something like this: competitive Dota. And by clicking on that, it'll discuss all the current competitions, anything which is coming up. You can find it on multiple websites as well. If you want to try and find most of them, and it's the most active forums in the world of Dota 2, it might not be the most active portal as far as news goes, but as far as portals go, this is IceFrog's home. This is a website called playdota.com, and you can check out so many forums. They're in multiple languages as well. As you can see, it just stretches down, and there's a couple of users online right now. So that's 3,500 people currently online. Wait until Asia wakes up. Then it goes completely gaga. So you can check these guys out, check out for the competitive sections, and you can find the latest tournaments. If I try and say right now, this is the tournament you should go to, and this one, and this one, and this one, then you're going to be going, awesome, that's really great. I watched this video 2 months from now, from when it was recorded. That no longer applies to me. So it's not good advice to say, you know what, you should be checking out for these guys. Check out the portals. You'll find the competitions you can sign up for, and it's the best way to go. Portals are your biggest key to advancing in the world. And let's actually talk about that now. So this is going to go into, well, it's kind of a segue, and I've kind of already started, because the questions are basically the inspiration I have to make these kind of things. So I want to know your questions so I can focus on that. So competitive scene, that's right. I got my little notepad on the side here. So the competitive scene, how do you follow it? How do you know when the competitions are happening, be it for you to sign up or for you to watch? Now, this will come from multiple portals, and really, most gamers are very, very fussy about their portals. I say, actually, very fussy is kind of an understatement. Insanely fussy about their portals. They don't just want to be going, you know what, yeah, I'll just keep tuning into Team Liquid because it's what I do. It's like they're like the best thing around, I heard, so I'm just going to keep on doing that. Evaluate what you want from every community. When you look at community, so let's actually just jump on right now. I mentioned the words Team Liquid. Now, when everyone hears Team Liquid, they're going to go, oh my God, that site is huge. And believe me, it frickin' is. Team Liquid is, I think it actually has got to be classed as the largest gaming community in the world. Team Liquid is insanely big, but it's also insanely StarCraft orientated. Very, very StarCraft orientated. So you're not going to find on the main page all your Dota 2 news. However, if you go in here, you got your forums. I generally just do it this way. There's other ways to navigate to it, and you'll find it here. So the sport and games, Dota 2. So that's what you can look for. If you click on that little guy, then you'll find all the recent topics which everyone has been talking about in the world of Dota 2. So there was a recent interview done by ArtStyle. It's up there right now. And this is very community-driven. It's the way Team Liquid sub-forums always really have been. The moderators will watch it pretty closely, so you don't have too much junk in there. But yeah, you can check out most of the latest articles just by looking at Team Liquid. But this is a user kind of thing. This is what people do. There was actually one recently for the Joint Dota Masters. This guy actually made up a summary. So everybody can check out all the latest spoilers. There's the images which aren't loading. And he took screenshots of all the grids and things like this. And this is just something which a community member does. And that's what Team Liquid offers. Then you go into other communities. And I'm going to go to ESFI next. So ESFI is right here. Okay, so ESFI is, again, a pretty StarCraft-oriented website. Like, we'll go to the default page and instantly MLG Pro Circuit, the king reigns over winter. And that's what they do. But there's also a crap load of Dota news, because I'm on the Dota 2 tab right now, and if you actually go to all games, then you'll have all your other news starting to appear down here. But Dota 2 is what we're looking at. And you can see there's a couple of news articles here. They actually write really, really good stuff over on this website. The only downside for them is there isn't a very big active community behind them. So if you click on a news, if I click on a news and it takes me to that news, that would be absolutely amazing. Currently thinking, it'll get there bit by bit, it'll get there. So you'll take you to the news and you go, okay, sweet, well, I now know next KZ, they pull their support over their team. So that's a bit of a shame. They're actually a really good bunch of guys. And then you can jump down to this. That's the roster, at least, for the team. But there's only one comment there. So if you want to ask any questions, ESFI, until they build up their community a little bit more, it's very only new in Dota 2, so you've got to kind of remember that. Until they build up their community, you won't really find a lot of big answers to your questions. You can try in the forums, you can try in different other places, but as far as a very active Dota 2 community goes, they're a very read some good stuff, but don't really talk about it there. So if you just want to keep up with news that way, and that's your personal touch, then you go for them. Work out pretty nicely. If you want to go to the large, or the, you could say it was actually probably the largest old Dota community out there. If you want to go Dota 1, as far as English goes, this is the biggest. This is gosugamers.net. And checking out anything here will basically, you will find your answers. Now, I'm on the Dota 1 tab, and you'll notice there's a lot of tabs here. They do StarCraft, Warcraft, HON, WoW, Diablo 3. They have a poker tab as well if you want to try and keep up with that. So there are a mix of many, many different things. We're talking about Dota 2, so you can go in here, as we can just see, Purge is casting at the moment, doing some Star League matches, and you got your match tickets and everything else on here. So it's a really nice page to try and keep up to date with a lot of stuff. They're not always 100% on time kind of thing, but most of the time they are pretty good. And more importantly, your active community. So you've got your Dota forums, they're built into the website, and you can see this is just what has been written down for the last day. So all the posts in the last 24 hours, they all appear here, and this is just one division of the forums. So Ghosty Gamers has been around for a very, very long time. If you want to be involved with them, it's very, very simple to do. Beware of the trolls. They do love to troll, but the moderators are also there to try and keep that under wraps. Now we can go to, actually, I want to do my portal last, because obviously I'm slightly biased towards that because I am from that website, and we do try and do our best. We'll go to that one last. What I want to go to is actually a website called Dota Cinema. Now, Dota Cinema is a resource I kind of want to just draw your attention to, because I talked before about you guys as observers being able to follow the world of Dota 2 and follow not just the world, but the game itself and understand everything inside it. And out of all the portals, out of all the guys I've seen up on YouTube, these guys basically take the cake. They're the fastest ones to get out the videos. They've upgraded all their old ones, which they did as well, which they use international footage for. These guys are there from the beginning, and their portal actually works very, very nicely. It's a little bit spammy up to try and find some stuff, but if you want to check out the heroes, they've got good guides up for that. And, well, they do have live streams, but that's just their guys playing. It's not really 100% educational as such. What I like about these guys is if I want to click on SB, they have this. So if you want to watch it, Sunsfan does a lot of these kind of things, and it gives you a guide for how the hero works.
This is Sunsfan with an introduction to Spirit Breaker.
Yeah.
Spirit Breaker?
So they'll run through every single ability that this hero's got. So if you want to try and work out what every single hero does, this is actually a really, really nice way of doing it. So we'll go through ability by ability by ability by ability. So I suggest you really try and check these things out if you are interested in watching the competitive games, or you kind of want to understand about the competitive games. That is exactly what you need to understand what happens when, like, SB, you're seeing him bashing on somebody. Why did he just bop right there? You don't know that that's actually called a greater bash. That is his third ability, and that's what they're showing up right now, as you see it up in the top corner. So that's just something for everybody out there to go, oh, okay, well, if that's the case, that's fantastic. Now I know. I now know this hero, which I didn't understand that ability, and that's what they kind of do as a portal. But keeping up with the competitive scene, we're going to go finally now to where I'm from, and that was actually a place we went to before for the forums, unless we just jumped ourselves in here. So this is joindota.com. This is my website right now. As you can see, it's generally centered around broadcasting. As you can see, we've got a countdown in the top corner. The Join Dota Master is what we're covering right now, and you can see all the latest news articles. So WCG, of course, they announced their news today. If you haven't heard it, you'll probably want to check it out. And the fact that World Cyber Games is not having PC games anymore, bit of a mind shock for me. So I'm feeling a little bit down while I do this for you all. But yes, if you want to check out all the news articles, and we have our match tickets on the side, and most websites will have this. Most websites for Dota, you saw it over on GoToGamers as well. They have a match ticket down the side, and it's generally filled in. We've got a couple of replays there. At the moment, Dota 2 replays don't work. They're all stored server-side, so you can't really watch them all the time. So we don't really have that function just yet until the replays do come out. But you can keep up with your match tickers. Every site will do it differently as well. We can't do it in two different ways with the event view and the list view. And then live streams. So this is the second part of what I want to do. So the first part was following the community site. So you can check out news articles, you can check out tournaments, grids, things like that. Most of the time you find that information from match tickers. It depends on how you actually want to list it all. The other thing is following the players and following the live streams. Now, I'm a broadcaster, so I obviously want to say follow the live streams and don't just look at like the decoding later, know who won, because you don't get excited about the world that way. For me, I'm one of those guys that just goes, you know what, do I want to do this? Do I want to watch a game and go, yeah, anyway, just picked, that's GG. I didn't even watch the rest of this game, just GG. No, I'm not that kind of guy. I'm one of those guys that will be like, awesome, Anime just picked, but who are they countering with? How are they doing it? Who is playing what? How does this all work? Does that player even play that hero? How does it even work? And does Anime work into the current metagame? I don't understand these things unless I listen to the people who watch these games day after day. I talk to the community on the forums. I talk to everybody. I listen to the commentators. I wait for the expert commentators to come on, and I can listen to those guys as well who explain everything. It's the reason why I like having Puppy, Cinderin, Fear was joining me in the morning of for the last JD Masters, and he actually spent time in China as well. So it's people like that you want to listen to because they know these players, they know who is playing, they know the reasons why they make these choices, and that's the kind of stuff that takes it from just a result being on a web page to that personal touch, to actually understand the player themselves. And that's where fanboyism comes from. That's when you go, oh my god, I love Puppy's Chen. At that point, then you go, yes, now I think I am actually in love with the world of Dota 2. But is it because I play the heroes, or is it because I watch the heroes and I watch the players who play those heroes? Something for you just to think about. Anyway, keeping up to date with them all, there's a couple of websites you can do this. There's actually a dedicated website here we go, streamdota2.com. Any stream will generally appear up on this. So you can see the ones which are live, which ones are also the tournament casts. This actually used to be kept up to date really a hell of a lot, but Google is your friend when it comes to websites like this. A lot of them just appear and then disappear a lot of the time. StreamDota 2 was one of the very, very early ones. It was one of the most basic ones to ever be created. It's a simple plugin. It's very, very simple similar to what we use here, and Go-To Gamers do the same thing. They've got their Dota 2 live streams just up on the corner here, and you can check out who is casting what. We have different languages and everything else. You can check them all out if you want to, and you can check out our upcoming broadcasts, of course, as well. But every website will have a facility like this, or majority of them will. So it is a live stream ticket. The one which is viewed the most is this one, actually. The live streams are here. So not everybody puts their stream up onto Team Liquid, but it is something you can do, and you can see, like, there's 152 non-featured streams. There's a couple of Dota 2 guys in here. There's a lot of StarCraft, a couple of LoL guys in there as well. And you can follow those guys through these tickers like this, or you can go to the hubs. Now, as we discussed we discussed yesterday, there are two places majority of people do go to. One is Twitch and one is Own3D TV. Most StarCraft people are over at Twitch. Dota is kind of split between the two right now. Own3D TV, LOL. There's so much LOL over there. As you can see them right now, the League of Legends guys, there's 22,000 people who are just watching a public stream of League of Legends. It's a very, very large streaming community over here, and you can sort these by games or by the developers. So you got Solo Mid there. If you want to check out any League of Legends broadcasts, they've got their own separate pages for this. Now, this feature is available for Dota 2 as well. So if you want to check out the Dota 2 streams, do I have one on the main page? I see Cup is streaming the original Dota. So that's not going to help me at all to explain that. Thank you very much. But luckily then we can just have a bit of a search. So Dota 2 is here, and you can see who is streaming right now. So Nemesis is up, and you can see whatever streams you want. Same facilities there for Twitch TV. So this is the Twitch TV main page, and you'll have a selection up on the top. And then you can go down and go, well, what have we got? League of Legends, it's up there around the top. And Dota 2, this list kind of just changes from now to then, but you see Dota 2 just hovering there. And we've got the French streaming, Come With Me guy from Romania, Purge from America, and the Russians streaming out in the Starlighter matches too. So you can check out these portals if you want to watch the competitive gamers as well. But knowing who is actually streaming competitive stuff, that is generally when you have to watch the portals. And then you can follow the games, then you can follow all that kind of jizzle. And really, that's kind of what you want to do. Like, if you're one of those kind of guys that just likes watching people play pub games, then, well, that's your kind of fetish. I only ever watch that kind of stuff because I watch the player. I don't watch the game itself. I enjoy watching them play. Like, Dendy is a freaking troll, so I really enjoy watching him. And as far as Dota 2 streamers go, he is the most popular in the world. There is no other Dota 2 streamer that gets as many people watching him playing a public game as Dendy. As far as broadcasts go for tournaments, at this point JD holds the record, but that could change. There are a lot of broadcasters out there. Gosu Gamers, they got a few broadcasts out there. There's a guy from America called AC who streams out. China would hold the record at this point, though they're not really broadcasting much of Dota 2. The highest numbers I've heard of that is like 5,000 people watching a restream of another match, and that's just the world of China. They're not ready for Dota 2 just yet, but they are on their way. They are going to be on their way sometime soon, hopefully. Let's go into our next stage of things. So everything which I just told you then should be enough to help you follow the competitive community. So that's the portals, that's the live streams, that's keeping up with the matches which will be happening, and it's also the places where you can where you can follow to find out where you can sign up your team, because really, these organizations, they'll let you know when they're having a tournament, especially if they're having an open invite tournament. They will let you know, because if they don't, then no one's going to sign up and their tournament will just be a flop. So you look for those guys who are advertising out there. Find the small little guys around in different little places, but ask on the forums. Post up on the forum saying, I want to find out where a current competition is. Where can I sign up? What do I have to do to be in there? And you can go from there. So let's move on to the next stage. Now, I did say I want to try and help everybody out there understand what is going on when they look at a screen. And that's actually what we're going to do now. Let's jump inside Dota 2. Now, obviously, you guys will know this game. Or if you don't, you will sometime soon. All right, so this is inside the game. Now, what I want to create for you is a lobby. So all we have to do is, create lobby. Awesome, great. Settings, password, no, spectators, doesn't really matter. What I want to do is a captain's mode. Now, there are multiple modes when you look at a game of Dota 2. All pick lets you select any hero. All teams, they have free pick. You can't select the same hero twice. That is not possible. I know it is possible for people out there from League of Legends when you do a blind pick. Then you can select the same hero twice. Not on the same team, obviously, but you can do it like the mirror kind of thing. That kind of stuff was only available back in Warcraft 3 Dota, and that was fun modes. That was when you go like all pick, and you can control the lanes and do all that kind of stuff. In Dota 2, it's very, very simple. You got Captain's Mode, Single Draft, and All Random. So Single Draft means you get a selection of 3 heroes from each of the pools. So be it Strength, Intel, and Agility. So you can select one out of those 3 pools. We're going to look at Captain's Mode because Captain's Mode is, well, Captain's Mode. It's what we use for the tournaments. So as you can see, there's tournament version and latest version. They're actually the same right now. When they add in more updates, then the tournament version stays the same, and they work their way through all the bugs and everything else. I'm in Europe, so we'll just sit that anyway. As you can see, there's a whole crapload more servers added into the Southeast Asia, so those guys can have a little bit more of an easier time. But I'm going to jump into the Radiant slot. Now, this is something which we'll hit the start game and we'll just start rolling. Now, this is something, it also takes a little bit more time when you're by yourself inside a game. That was something they added in recently, so the servers... that's why you're going to see this finding server for a little bit longer. Anyway. So, why is that on? Yeah, matchmaking. Okay, yeah, it's cool. I just realized my matchmaking settings are still up there and I got tripped out for a moment. So the captain's mode is a very, very simple thing when it comes down to understanding how the game actually comes to be. When you play a game of chess, you set up your board the same way every single time. In the world of Dota, you actually have different opportunities in the way you want to set up your board. Do I want to have extra support heroes? Who do I actually want all the time? It's these chop and change kind of things of what you need to do and what you want to have and what you need to make your lane to work. All this kind of stuff comes into the one. So the first thing I want to look at is the draft itself and the screen the players see. When you're a spectator, all you see is the 5 bands and the 5 picks. It is something which I will also go into detail when this screen loads up, which is basically now. Okay, so we're in captain's mode. As you can see, 5 bands, 5 bands. Each team can ban out 5 heroes. Now, this happens in a phase. So there is 3 bands to start with. They go 1, 1, 1. Whoever starts off, generally you can set it to random or you can set it to a certain team. So when you start off with your bands, you start off with heroes that will oppose your strategy. So if you're going to go a big AoE strat, then you want to remove out heroes that can affect that. So if you have 2 teams with big AoE strats, that kind of screws you up a little bit because there's going to be so much disruption. So you just try and ban them out. I'm going to mute that woman. You have the announcer just telling you, you must use your time to select it. I'll just ban out SK. There's no real reason for that. I'm just finding a random hero to select. Okay, so I ban a hero, and then the opposition will ban a hero. There's no opposition, so this won't work as such. But if you ban out 1 hero, 1 hero, 1 hero, 1 hero, 1 hero, 1 hero, 3 heroes taken out. So you've taken out the heroes who are going to oppose your team strategy, and any hero which you believe is just a little bit too overpowered. So you find heroes like Anti-Mage, Prophet will get into that ban pool, Shadow Demon pops in and out of it all the time. It all depends on who is the most powerful hero in the game at the moment, and that hero will then be removed. Then you go into your picking stage. Now, this is where it kind of gets interesting. Your banning phase, it can be as simple as you ban out heroes who counter your thing, or you ban out heroes who are too overpowered. But those heroes who are really, really strong in the game, sometimes you want to pick them. So how do you actually get the opposition to not ban those heroes that you want to pick up? That's when it comes to bait banning. Now, bait banning is a term which I've only just made up, but it does happen. The definition I'm making up right now. Bait banning is something which you do if you ban out like an SK and then you ban out a Pudge. Maybe those 2 heroes are played a lot by your opposition, but it's not important to ban them out early on. But because you ban those heroes, it lets people like Invoker, people like Prophet, people like Chen through into the game, and then you can pick them up. So it becomes a mind battle between the two teams of who do I ban, then who does it let through, and in what order do I pick them? As you can now see, and if your brain has not exploded yet, it gets complicated. The draft is not always a simple thing to do. As you can see, there is a decent amount of heroes in here, and there are still more coming with every couple of weeks that go through in the world of Dota, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger. So your set drafts, everything the way it happens, what is classed as your meta game, is affected from this one screen. This is where it all unravels. This is when you choose what chess pieces you want to place on your board and what pieces you want to deny to your opponent. That's where it really comes in. So this is the screen the players see. This is all the heroes they see. How you approach this is something you as a person need to think about. And every single time you watch a pro player do the draft, try and think about what they're thinking about. It's what we do as commentators. It's the reason why I know a lot of people who on YouTube videos say the game starts at this point, the draft starts now. Some people just don't want to see the draft. They just want to skip ahead into the game and just watch the game. And that's fair enough. That's not for everybody. I know Vlad, the most popular Russian broadcaster out there for Dota 2, he actually will sit there joking and just laughing during the drafting stage. He gets bored by it. Because most of the time it's just like the same draft. He doesn't really care. It's nah. Sometimes it'll interest him because a new hero will be picked up and then he'll start discussing it. But for him, the draft is boring. For me, I love it because it's a mind game between the two captains to try and work out what the other person is wanting, how are you going to draft, and how do you also counter the other person while getting your team what they need. Getting those heroes that will work for your team. Getting those heroes that will be able to, well, work together in the lanes to actually have that synergy in a lane, to know that you have enough stunners, to know you've got enough disable, to know you've got the mid-game pressure covered if that's the kind of strat you want to go for, or early game, you can win those lanes just due to the power of your heroes and the combination of your lanes, or late game if you have an option for that. All of that is done in this window. And when that is done, you can go, well, that was just so clear. Why did I not see this beforehand? Like, you try and do this yourself, even if it's just creating up dummy games. If you find a friend in the world of Dota 2, and you both go captains, and just draft for the sake of drafting. Don't need to start up a game. You just do this. So I'm joined into a game right now. Anybody can do this. Get your friend to go on the opposition, and then just see if you can outsmart them just in the draft. Half of the game can come out right now. The amount of people who have actually used the phrasing, won it on the draft, is actually quite amazing. There's a lot of people who will say, oh, yeah, they just so won that game on the draft. It's true. Sometimes it does. Sometimes you select heroes that can just not deal with it. If you pick up a stealth assassin and all of a sudden there's a Slanner on the opposition and you go, well, that's not good. Stealth assassin's now going to get revealed off. I need somebody to support him, but I didn't select anybody. I got no support hero that can do that kind of job. Then you start to go, I made a mistake in my drafting. I need to review that. Something's not quite right. Maybe I should just think about it this way. So when you want to, go and find videos for anyone who broadcasts. I know whenever I do my games on Join Dota, you can check out the VODs there, and you can see the way people think about a draft when they go through it. And it's really great too when I managed to get a couple of pros into the game as well, because when that's the case, but I'm just quitting the game out so I don't hear the sound in my ears. When you listen to the pro gamers talk about it, when they join me for a broadcast, and it's actually a really great reason why we had Puppy on. If you want to check it out, it's a DTS versus Na'Vi show match, and Puppy wasn't playing in it because he couldn't go to the LAN event. A visa from Estonia to Russia was not that easy. Estonia is where Puppy lives, by the way. So yes, it's when you listen to him talk about it, like he knew his team back to front, and he could give insight into the whole mindset of it. It's just one of these things where Puppy will go for a little bit more of a safer draft. Then you'll have Dendy who will go for a safe draft with a bit of a push because he wants to initiate, he wants to be aggressive. And then you'll go a player like Horst who will be like, you know what, I hate the games that go past 40 minutes. It's a disgrace when it happens. And he picks all early game heroes, anything that can push, anything that can win. And that was actually said in an interview I did with Puppy about 2-3 months ago. And it's just an insight into the way those players think. And this comes down to what I was talking about before of you as a spectator, why do you love the game? Is it for the player? Is it just for the game itself? Or do you combine the two of it together where the player influences the game? Am I blowing your mind yet? I'm trying to do. Because it is great, though, when you see a big tournament happen at the end of the defense finals. Like, we saw some really stupid stuff, like a Storm Spirit jungling. No one would even think of doing that. Not as a support hero. It's never happened before. It's happened 2 times before, and these are the guys who went nuts about it in the forums. They're like, has this ever actually happened before? And it did happen 2 times before, both in Southeast Asia, and both of it was a jungle start to a carry hero later. It was a different way of actually trying to run Storm Spirit's early farm in the game. So, different way of trying to play him. But this kind of stuff, the players influence the metagame. And the metagame of the competitive scene will generally influence how it works in the public scene. There's 2 different worlds, competitive and public. Generally, the 2 do not cross. What works in the competitive game will sometimes not work in a public game. What works in a public game will generally not work in a competitive game. You got to see the strengths and the weaknesses of both strats, both styles of playing the game, and that's where you've got to try and just think about the whole world of Dota as a whole. It all influences each other, but they don't all influence directly, if you understand that. It's like a symbiotic relationship. They can both live together, but they cannot live without each other. It's a fantastic way of trying to look at the world of Dota 2. I am actually out of time. That's right. I think I've actually run a little bit longer than normal because I try not to make these things too long or else you will also just blow your mind like my own. So thank you very much for actually tuning in. That's myself, Toby1. If you have enjoyed this, please do comment, like, whatever the heck you do on YouTube. Leave a comment with any questions you have for me. Whatever questions you have, I will try and answer in every single video I'll do every single week. And you guys, well, it's your questions. They're the ones I'll try and answer them bit by bit, little by little. We'll go through it. Unfortunately, we didn't do any warding stuff today, but hey, we'll see. Maybe we might do some of that next week. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you on what will be week 4 of LearnDOTA? It'll be next time on the Razer Academy.